Because of the pandemic inflation, cars are increasingly more expensive and complex at the same time. But let's face it, not all of us need the latest and greatest car tech, and that especially rings true for young adults and family starters. That brings us to the next question. What is the perfect budget car? Well, I can think of a few key reasons as to why the all-new 2022 Honda Civic just might fit your bill. So stick around and let's find out. The Honda Civic has been around since 1972, and they're particularly praised for its exceptional affordability, practicality, and reliability. As a matter of fact, you'll even hear crazy stories of mechanics successfully reviving engines running without oil on the Honda Civic. Now, of course, I would never recommend that, but that just goes to show just how amazing Honda engineering and manufacturing culture is. Fast forward to today, the all-new 11th generation Honda Civic tacks on a very set of impressive new features, all while still holding strong to its fundamental roots. Now with that out of the way, let's go over to the first reason as to why I think the Honda Civic is the perfect budget car, which is styling. Styling is important because it helps prolong the value of the car over time, and that's especially important when it comes time to upgrade. And after all, who doesn't like a car that looks great? Now the all-new 11th generation Honda Civic exterior has now been updated, mainly the front hood is now more square and the front fascia is more tapered. The front grille pattern is also made more slim, creating a more sportier and dense profile. The front also features LED headlamps as well as available lower fog lights for improved visibility in foggy conditions. Now what I like most about the Honda Civic is this color scheme, which is the morning mist metallic blue. This ceramic look really brings the Honda Civic in a design uptrend. Now what I really wish the Honda Civic had was an available black top, similar to what the Toyota Camry XSE has done, but maybe we'll see that in later revisions of the more sportier Civic SI trim. Alright, so moving on to reason number 2 as to why I think the Honda Civic is such a great budget value car is the powertrain. Ultimately, you want something that is very reliable and fuel efficient, saving you on operating costs. What's also important to note is that the all-new Honda Civic has kept the original powertrain design from the previous generation. Then that's also considered a good thing because newer designs tend to have more problems. Now the Honda Civic offers 2 engine configurations. Base LX, EX, and Sport trim get a lower 2.0-liter 4-cylinder engine producing 158 horsepower. The higher touring trim that we have here comes with a more powerful 1.5-liter 4-cylinder engine producing 180 horsepower. All 4 trims that we mentioned comes with a CVT transmission. More enthusiastic adrenaline seekers can opt for the more sportier Civic SI trim that comes with a retuned 1.5-liter turbocharged engine boosting the horsepower up to 200 with an exclusive 6-speed manual transmission. Yes, I know, don't beat yourself up because the CVT transmission is still very fun to drive on the lower 4 trims. Alright, so moving on to reason number 3 is the interior. Despite being on a budget, you'll still want an interior that you can really enjoy. I never thought I would say this, but the Honda Civic actually feels very premium, especially the touring trim that we have here. And that's because a lot of the luxury features have been trickled down from the more expensive Honda Accord. That means you get a leather-wrapped steering wheel that's also heated, leather-wrapped gear shifter, as well as one of my favorites, the all-new 12-speaker Bose audio sound system. It's definitely a huge upgrade because the sound signature is very boomy and very immersive and definitely a huge step up from the stock audio sound system. New for the Honda Civic also features its first ever all-digital instrument cluster display, which is very crisp, very nice and very easy to use. And on the steering wheel, you've got your paddle shifters for sequential shift mode for your CVT transmission. On the right, you have adaptive cruise control, and on the left of the steering wheel, you have your media controls. New for the Honda Civic also comes with this really cool honeycomb style heat vents, as well as these joysticks to control the direction of the fans. On the center console, it also features a dedicated redesigned climate control stack, which looks and feels very premium. I'm also very impressed because I never thought I would see something like this in a Honda Civic, and I especially like the LED backdrops on the display. Touring trims also get an available smartphone wireless charger here in the middle. On the center console, you have your traditional 2 cup holders, as well as a more traditional gear shift lever, as well as a toggle switch to switch between different drive modes, between eco, normal, and sport mode. A button here to turn off and on engine start stop, as well as an electronic park brake switch. Now Honda has also used this kind of a zigzaggy hard plastic panel here, which is good because a lot of manufacturers tend to use a lacquered finish, which is very easy to scratch and very prone to fingerprints. So it's kind of a minor detail that I really appreciate, that Honda has used a different material of choice to kind of a more hardened plastic to kind of avoid these cosmetic problems that we see a lot in other vehicles. LX, EX, and Sport trim get a 7-inch infotainment display, while the Touring trim gets a larger 9-inch display, which is also an HD display of a higher resolution. There's pretty good congruency design between the instrument cluster and the infotainment display. Both infotainment systems support Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is great because you can connect your phone directly to the screen. The Touring trim that we have here also comes with perforated leather seats that are 9-way adjustable. What's also interesting to note is that Honda has slightly tweaked the interior windshield dimensions. Mainly the A-pillars here has been extended slightly outwards, creating a more widescreen and driver-focused field of view. And the Touring trim also comes with an available moonroof as well. And that's about it. Alright, so moving on to reason number 4 is the engaging driving experience. No, at just 180 horsepower, the Honda Civic is not really going to snap any necks, but it's still a very, very fun car to drive. The primary reason behind that is that the powertrain is relatively simple, meaning there are less computer nannies or inherent software system delays that would otherwise influence the driver's true intentions. The front windshield dimensions have also been tweaked to give you a more widescreen peripheral vision, as well as a more driver-focused and authoritative field of view. As mentioned earlier, the interior quality of the Civic Touring trim feels surprisingly high-end, and if you didn't know you were in a Honda Civic, you would never have guessed it otherwise. Now about the drive. The Honda Civic does what it does best, which is giving you a very truthful and organic driving experience. I especially like the fact that the Honda Civic sits low to the ground, giving it more of a road-hugging effect, or a lower center of gravity in technical terms. That also means it handles exceptionally well, and in my opinion, a very worthy compromising alternative to the more popular crossover SUVs. Acceleration from standstill is quick to build up speed, and I especially liked how responsive and controlled the steering and handling is. Despite the built-in turbocharger in an equipped 1.5-liter engine, turbo lag is more or less non-existent. What I also really liked is a driver's field of view. The widescreen front windshield effect gives you excellent road visibility that is similar to that of a well-designed sports car. Now I know, electronic CVT transmissions aren't the crowd's favorite, but still very smooth with minimal vibration over any sort of obnoxious noise from the belt drive. The CVT transmission can also mimic a conventional gearbox that's manipulated by the paddle shifters mounted on the steering wheel. While this adds another layer of fun factor to the Honda Civic, it still doesn't fully replicate or give you that same satisfaction as physically shifting gears. I'm more specifically referring to the 6-speed manual transmission exclusive to the Civic Si trim. Where the Honda Civic falls short is a noise, vibration, and harshness category, otherwise known as NVH. That means you'll tend to hear a bit more unwanted wind shear and road noise within the cabin space, and the engine exhaust tone isn't exactly the most pleasing. The Honda Civic also has a very basic suspension setup, so the ride can be a little bit bumpy depending on road conditions. Still, the Honda Civic still offers a fairly comfortable ride, and most notably, a very fun and engaging driving experience. No car is perfect, and no car will ever be. And let's start off with the fact that the Honda Civic sedan is a subcompact, meaning the rear seat legroom and cargo capacity are going to be a bit limited. So if both features are important to you, you'll have to upgrade to a full-size sedan or a more practical crossover SUV, which will also cost more. And number 2, the Honda Civic, well, it's still a Honda Civic. That means the ride quality tends to be a bit more harsh on the NVH side and a bit more raw. Nevertheless, the Honda Civic is an exceptional budget value car with a lower LX trim costing just $23,000, and this Touring trim that we have here packed full of luxury and tech features at just $30,000. That's my take on the all-new 2022 Honda Civic. I hope you enjoyed the ride as much as I did. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and most importantly, keep driving.